So last class we were discussing about the definition of heat. Okay, and we said that it's a form of energy, how it is defined and how it compares with the work transfer. All those things we looked at. We'll bring back same information once again just to have a continuation. So heat is a form of energy that is transferred across boundary by virtue of a temperature difference. The temperature difference is the potential or force, and the heat transfer is the flux. The screen is visible to you, right?
Yes, sir.
And audio is clear. My voice is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the definition of heat transfer we looked at yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Once again, read this carefully. Read the statement because it's very important. The concept of temperature and work transfer, the understanding is very, very essential because this work transfer and heat transfer, we will use it in many applications in mechanical engineering, right? In this subject, then there is applied thermodynamics, heat transfer, anything you take the work transfer and heat transfer concept should be very clear. There should not be any doubt. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So we'll continue with this, the discussion from where we left yesterday. So there is a sign convention. I said heat added to the system is positive, heat leaving the system is taken as a negative. Okay, this is a sign convention for a heat transfer. Let's look at the other aspects of a heat transfer. Heat transfer, a path function. So the way I said work is a path function. Similarly, heat transfer is also a path function. It's not a point function. So that means heat transfer, the amount of heat transferred in any process is not the property of the system. So to estimate heat transfer, you need to know the process that system follows when there is a change of state happens. Okay, it is not a property. Heat is not a property of the system. So whenever there is a difference in temperature, there will be heat flow. Right? This we know that the temperature difference is the cause and the heat transfer is the effect that we discussed in the previous class. Same thing I'm bringing back. Just like displacement work, heat transfer can also be written as an integral of the product of intensive property and a differential change of an extensive property. So in the work transfer, how did we write dW, differential of a differential, the small increase in small transfer in work, right? Very small, infinitesimally small transfer of work. dW is equal to PdV, right? Where P is an property, it's an intensive property, right? And the dV is an extensive property. So it's a product of a integral of the total work is integral of a intensive property and an extensive property, pressure and volume. Similarly, you can write heat transfer function for a heat transfer. This how that this equation comes, we see the model 3. Okay, now for time being, you take it for granted. Heat transfer can be written as the product of an intensive property and a differential change in extensive property called the entropy. Here, entropy will be analogous to the volume, right? The work transfer for work transfer volume, for heat transfer entropy, right? Pressure for work transfer, similarly temperature is for the heat transfer. So if you look at this here, the way we draw PV diagram, in the same fashion we can also draw a TS diagram, right? TS diagram. Temperature is a property, S is also property. S is an entropy of the system. The way pressure and volume are properties of system, similarly temperature and entropy are also properties of the system. The way you draw a PV diagram, in the same fashion, you can also draw a TS diagram. So if you draw a TS diagram, when system undergoes a change of state from state 1 to state 2, it follows some process, right? Let this process be known. I know this process, how the change happens. It is a quasi-static process through which the system changes state from 1 to 2. So this change of state, during the change of state, the property values change, right? Initially, the property value was a D1 and S1 at the initial state. When the change of state happens, after the change of state, the property values are T2 and S2. Okay, in between that, during the journey from state 1 to state 2, the property values change. That I call it as T and S. At any point along this curve, the property values are T and S. So T and S are related. There will be some function. They will be related through certain function. So what is that function? If you know that function, then you can do an integration. So here, a small infinitesimal heat transfer, when the property value changes by small quantities, when temperature changes by a small amount by dt, and entropy changes by a small amount ds. So here, change of state from here to here, so a small change. So during this small change, what is the heat transfer? That heat transfer is given by T into ds. T is the temperature, ds is the change in entropy. So during this small change, when there is a small change in the system properties, I assuming the temperature is constant. Even though there is a change, both are changing. See here, both are changing. If you see, when S changes, T also changes. But for a sake of mathematical calculation, I assume the change in temperature I ignore. Okay, I only consider change in the value of ds. This is standard mathematical practice. We have studied in integration and differentiation. So this is how we do it. So I take this small, this I assume the temperature to be constant over a small change. Then temperature into ds gives you the heat transfer during a small change in the state. So similarly, if you want to find out entire heat transfer during the process 1 to 2, what you have to do? You integrate from 1 to 2 for ds. So in work transfer, you had a similar equation. Work transfer is equal to the integration over 1 to 2 p dv, right? In place of p, I am writing t. In place of dv, I am writing ds, right? So work transfer, the t is analogous to pressure in work transfer. ds is analogous to dv in a work transfer. So you get an equation for the heat transfer. Okay. So in work transfer, we said that if I write dv, dw is equal to p into dv. So if I write this dv, what I get? I can rearrange terms. I get a 1 by p is 1 by p into dw, right? So similarly, here also I can write dq, right? Small heat transfer is equal to q into ds. So if I rearrange the terms, then what I will get? ds is equal to. So then I get an equation like this. ds is equal to 1 by t into dq. Okay. So if you see here, the dq is a dw is a inexact differential. Here dq is inexact differential, whereas dv is a exact differential, right? V is a property of the system, S is property of the system, but work and heat are not properties of the system. So a differential which is inexact differential gets converted into exact differential by a multiplication factor, right? This is called a multiplication factor which converts an inexact differential into exact differential. Okay, are you able to follow here? An inexact differential is converted into exact differential by using some multiplication factor. Okay. Similarly here also, dq, change of a small change, small heat transfer is an inexact differential which is converted into change in entropy ds by using some factor, that is 1 by t. Here it is 1 by p. P is pressure, T is temperature. Okay. So this 1 by p and 1 by t. Okay. These two operating factors, 1 by p and 1 by t. These are known as what they are known as? They are known as are called an integrating factor. They convert an inexact differential into an. Please, all of you, mute your microphone. Okay. So here 1 by p and 1 by t are known as integrating factors which convert an inexact differential into exact differential. Okay, dw and inexact differential is converted into dv exact differential. Here it is dq is an inexact differential and ds is exact differential. This dq gets converted into ds by using a factor. These are known as integrating factors. The factor that converts an inexact differential into an exact differential. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so let's continue the discussion. As I said, the heat transfer is also a path function. It is not a point function. So when we discuss similar to the, you can draw a diagram like P in the work transfer. We wrote a PV diagrams. Here it was pressure and here it was value. In the heat transfer, we write a TS diagram. These are similar, exactly similar. Okay, curves are very similar to them. So suppose there is change of state happening. So what happens? This change of state can occur through different processes A, B, C. Right? These are all processes. End result is change of state from 1 to 2. Right? When this happens, if you want to calculate heat transfer during a process, what you have to do? You need to first plot the TS diagram, right? T and S. Either you need to plot the diagram or you should know the relation between T and S during this journey. When the system change of state from 1 to 2, let's say following a process A, or it can be process B, or it can be process C. I must know which process the system is taking, and then I must know the relation between during that process, the relation between T and S. So then I can mathematically calculate. Or if I know that graphically, if I know the relation like this, then I can just calculate the area under the curve. Area under the curve gives you the heat transfer. So as it is evident here, the area under the curve is different for different curves, right? The curves are nothing but they represent the process. So therefore, the curve will be different for different processes. There is a different process means the curves will be different. The moment the curves are different means area under the curves will be different. So that means heat transfer during the different processes will not be equal. It will be different. It is specific to a process. Amount of heat transfer during any change of state depends on the process the system follows, not the end states. So if you so same argument will be listed here. So that means the integration of integration over 1 to 2 for process A dq will not be equal to integration of dq for a process 1 to 2 for path B. Similarly, path C. These values will not be equal. They will be different. Therefore, you can write that heat transfer is a path function. It's not a point function. Then amount of heat transferred when a system changes from state 1 to state 2 depends on intermediate states through which system passes. Okay, that is it's a path, right? So therefore, dq is equal to TdS is an inexact differential. Therefore, we use a cut line. See here, we use a cut line here. Okay, why we use cut line? Cut line is used to indicate that the differential is an inexact differential. You need to know the path the system follows to integrate this. Okay, is it clear? So let us continue. The terminology is associated with the heat transfer. There are different terms that we make use of in heat transfer. Okay, what is this term? Do you know this term? Do you understand the values I have written here? Have you seen this equation earlier?
Specific heat transfer.
Specific, not heat transfer, specific heat. Okay. What word you should use? Specific heat. Q is heat transfer. C is a specific heat. Okay, as a convention. So here C is a specific heat. Q is the amount of heat transferred. M is mass of the system. Temperature is the change in temperature. When there is a heat transfer Q, it leads to a change in temperature in mass M. Okay, so then I say C is equal to Q by M delta T. Okay, so specific heat and latent heat. These are very important parameters. So what is specific? Specific heat of a substance. Oh, there is a small spelling mistake here. It should be is. Substance is defined as amount of heat required to raise a unit mass of substance to a unit rising temperature. Symbol used to represent this C. Okay. So what is that? It is amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a unit mass to a unit temperature rise. So this is a it can be depending on which system you are using, whether SI system or a British system. Okay, depending on that, these values will differ. If it is SI system, unit mass means 1 kg, right? Unit temperature means 1 degree Celsius or 1 degree Kelvin. So in SI system, how we define the specific heat of the substance is defined as amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kg mass through 1 degree Celsius or 1 degree Kelvin. Like that we can define. Okay, this is a specific heat, the definition of a specific heat. Similarly, you have this question should have been here. On that, arrange that. Okay. So what is unit of specific heat? Specific heat unit is joules per kg Kelvin. Okay. Joules is unit of the energy. Heat transfer is a form of energy. Okay. Joules is a unit used for both heat transfer and work transfer. For work also we use a unit in joules. For heat transfer also we use a joules. For energy also unit is joules. For all energy, heat transfer, work transfer, unit is same. That is joule, because they are all same physical. They are different forms of same physical quantity. Okay. Heat energy is a physical quantity. Okay. And heat and work are different forms of energy. Therefore, word used is joule. The unit used to measure is joules. This was not the case. Okay, earlier days, people did not know that. Earlier days, people thought work and energy were different forms of their different quantities. That was the understanding in olden days. But it was later proved that heat and work are the same quantity, the forms of the same physical quantity called energy. This we will discuss when we discuss first law of thermodynamics. Okay. So time being, you take it for granted that joules is a unit for both heat, work, and energy. Okay. So joules per kg Kelvin is the SI unit of or sometimes it is a joules per kg degree Celsius. That is also used. Okay. Since heat is not a property, okay, as explained, so the specific heat is defined with respect to process through which exchange of heat is made for gases. Okay, so therefore, since heat is not a property of the system, therefore specific heat also is not property of the system. It depends on the which process you are talking about. Specific heat will be different for different processes. Okay, so there are two different specific heats are there. What are those different specific heats? Can anybody tell me? Specific heat depends on the process that system follows. Specific heat will be different. What are different specific heats? Have you heard about specific heat? Different types of specific heats? Yes or no?
Yes.
What are two? I'll give one hint. There are two different specific heats. What are those? Can anybody answer? I'm saying there are two different types of specific heats. One hint I'll give you. Can anybody? Physics you have studied. What are two different types of specific heats? Can anyone answer? Yes or no?
I guess it is melting point and boiling point.
My God, madam. Melting point is melting point. It is not specific. Specific heat is different. Melting point is different. There are different physical quantities. Okay. Prerana is different. Shankar Gowda is different. There is one more. Your classmates. What is the name? I forgot. Alvin is different. Ashit is different. Right? Shiva Prasad is different. Right? Like that, melting point is different, boiling point is different, specific heat is different. They are all different physical quantities. Yes, anybody? Anyone can answer yes or no? At least you should say no. Don't keep quiet. Are you listening to me? Have you understood the question? Yes, no. You know the answer or you don't know the answer? You should say no.
Molar specific heat.
Yeah, correct. Somebody says molar specific. Yes, correct. That is one.
Temperature constant.
Temperature constant. If temperature constant means no, that is not correct. Temperature constant means no heat transfer.
Okay.
Molar is correct, but not that. That is another aspect. It is. I will discuss that. There is very okay. I'll give one more hint. You know this Charles law, Boyle's law, which is now you should be able to tell. Yes. So yes or no? Come on, quick. I will not waste time here. I want your answer. You say, I guess you should say. Someone should say, we don't know. There are two different specific heats are there. If you know, tell that. Otherwise, one somebody said that is correct. What he said is correct, but it is not fully correct. I'll tell you what is the difference. What he answer is given. And
That
what
is
no,
constant
sir.
volume and pressure.
Yes. Who is that?
Ashik.
Very good. Very good. So there are two different specific heats. One is specific heat at a constant volume. Other one is called a specific heat at a constant pressure. Clear? Okay. So depending on specific heat value will be different because amount of heat transferred to cause a temperature change for a unit mass will be different for a constant volume process and a constant pressure process. It is not same. Okay. Heat transfer is not same. It is different. So therefore specific heats are different for a constant volume process and a constant pressure process. Okay. And somebody said molar specific heat. Who is that? Who gave that answer?
Ashik.
Okay, Ashik, again, same person. So, Ashik, the molar specific heat is a different aspect. There it is with respect to this quantity of matter, right? This quantity of matter we can express in terms of moles or kgs. Kg, right? Number of moles or number of kgs. Amount of matter, it is there. How much it is? How do you quantify? Either you use moles or you can use a kg. Mass is one way of measuring. Other one is number of kg moles is another way of measuring. If I express the amount of matter in terms of kg moles, then that I call it as a kg mole, molar specific heat. In that case, it will be heat required, amount of heat transfer required to raise the temperature of 1 kg mole substance. Here I am saying 1 kg of substance. Instead of 1 kg, I will write 1 kg mole of substance through 1 degree Celsius. In that case, it is called a molar specific heat. Molar specific heat is very important. It is used in a chemical kinetics. When we do the thermodynamic study of chemical reactions, right? You want to do the thermodynamic amount of heat liberated or heat energy enthalpy of reactions and all, no? That you have done calculations, right? Chemical kinetics you have done, right? Rate of chemical reaction. All those things you know or don't know? Chemical kinetics you understand? Chemical reactions. So in those calculations, molar specific units will be used. For normal thermodynamic analysis, where you are not particularly looking at the chemistry, what species, how much it is changing, and under those conditions, this normal specific heat is enough. Okay, specific heat expressed in terms of a kg, the mass basis. Okay, mass basis, it is enough. Chemical kinetics, when you look at chemical kinetics, then molar specific heats are very useful. That we will discuss. We will be using it in the last chapter. What is normal specific heat? Okay. Again, in molar specific heat also there are two types: constant volume, constant temperature. Mass basis also constant volume, constant temperature. Like the two different types. Am I clear here? Is that clear? Okay. So CV is the specific heat for constant volume process. So whenever we want to say constant volume, the specific heat at constant volume, we use a subscript V. V stands for constant volume. Okay. If it is a specific heat at constant pressure, then designation will be CP. We can subscribe the P. Okay. So like this, the two different specific heats are used in the thermodynamic studies. They are very important definitions. Don't forget them. Okay. It's very important. We use this specific heat extensively. All thermodynamic studies, we regularly use the word specific heat. Okay. Clear? Heat capacity, right? So heat capacity is, what is heat capacity, right? Heat capacity is called a product of mass and the specific heat. The product, suppose some material is there, its specific heat is CV or CP, whatever is, depending on whether it is constant volume or constant pressure. You find out the C, small c. If you multiply by mass, amount of matter that is there, m into c, m into small c is called heat capacity. Substance and denoted by capital letter C. Capital letter, if I write, it is heat capacity of the matter. If you write small letter, it is heat specific heat, which is amount of heat transfer required to cause temperature range by 1 degree for a 1 kg mass. Instead of 1 kg, it is some kgs, I don't know, whatever it can be, m kgs. Then I write a C, capital C. Capital C will be equal to m mass into small c. Okay, so this is called a heat capacity of the material. Latent heat, amount of heat transfer required to cause a phase change per degree unit mass of phase change per unit mass of substance temperature. So what is latent heat? Latent heat is, we know that any matter it is taken, it exists in a different states. There are different way it can exist. Any matter can exist in a different states, like it can be gaseous state, solid state, or a liquid state. So depending on temperature, this matter changes its state. If you take ice and heat it, it becomes a liquid. Then if you keep on heating it, it becomes a gas, vapor, right? So when a 1 kg of ice melts and becomes liquid, usually the 1 kg of ice melting and becoming liquid happens at a 1 temperature. Suppose if you take the 1 kg ice, you keep it in a room, okay? So there will be heat transfer from room temperature will be higher than the ice temperature. So what will happen? Slowly heat will transfer from room air, surrounding air to the ice. So ice will start melting. This is a common experience. If you take ice piece and keep it outside, what happens? It starts to melt, right? Have you observed the melting of ice or any ice cream? All of you know this, right? Are you able to imagine what I'm saying here? Are you able to imagine the situation? I have taken ice and I kept outside. What happens? It melts. Why it melts? Why ice melts? Yes, can anyone tell me?
Room temperature.
Room temperature is higher than the ice temperature. Therefore, what happens? There will be heat transfer from room, okay, surrounding air to the ice. Therefore, ice temperature will increase, right? Initially, if the ice temperature is sub-zero, let us say ice I have taken at -5 degree, -10 degree, there will not be suddenly melting, will not happen. Okay, ice will not immediately melt. Initially, what happens? Ice temperature increases. Let us say from -10 degree or -20 degree, temperature will gradually increase to 0 degrees. Till then, there is no melting. Okay, once the ice temperature reaches the 0 degrees Celsius, then ice starts to melt. When this ice melts at the 0 degrees, there is equilibrium, right? Liquid and a solid phase, both are existing, right? You have seen that. If you take an ice cube, you put it in water, ice is floating in the water. That is a common experience everybody has seen. So ice will be floating in that condition. If you measure the temperature of the liquid temperature will be 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, the temperature of the liquid will be 0 degrees Celsius till all the ice converts into liquid. Okay, as long as there is an ice piece floating in the liquid water, the temperature of water will not increase. It will be 0 degrees Celsius only. Okay, so this transition from solid to liquid phase melting process happens at one temperature. It is an isothermal process. Melting process is an isothermal process. Similarly, boiling process is an isothermal process. Okay, it happens at one temperature. So when, even though there is a heat transfer, but there is no temperature increase, right? Whenever there is a heat transfer, we expect temperature to increase. But here there is no temperature increase, but heat transfer is there. So such situations, how to find out the heat transfer? So that is given by change of phase, quantity of matter that converts from a solid state to liquid state. So that is captured through a physical quantity called latent. What is latent? Is amount of heat transfer required to cause change of phase per unit mass. 1 kg mass, how much heat you have to transfer at 0 degrees Celsius? Okay, at 0 degree, ice is at a 0 degree Celsius, let us say. Now at 0 degrees Celsius, how much heat you have to add to ice to convert completely into liquid? That amount of heat is known as latent heat. Okay, this latent heat is defined for both melting and vaporization. There is something called a latent heat of melting and latent heat of vaporization. There is one more is there. What is that? One is latent heat of melting. Other one is latent heat of vaporization. There is one more. Can anybody tell me? Matter can change from a solid to liquid. It can change from liquid to gaseous state. Is there any other possibility?
Condensation.
Okay, condensation is correct. Condensation is vapor converts becoming liquid. So that latent heat of vaporization and latent heat of condensation will be equal. Whatever amount is required to convert the liquid to vapor will be equal to, it will be exactly same for converting the gaseous phase vapor to liquid. Only thing is sign will be negative. Sign will be different. In a vaporization, you are adding heat to the system. In condensation, heat is leaving the system. When a vapor condenses, it loses heat, right? Vapor, when it condenses, it loses heat. So that is the reason when you sweat, no? When you sweat, what happens? That sweat evaporates on your skin. When sweat evaporates on your skin, it gives you cooling effect, right? It cools your body, right? You sweat because your body tries to keep a temperature. This is a natural built-in mechanism in the human body. It tries to boil the temperature at lower level. Whenever temperature increases, if the temperature increases, you know that what happens? Body temperature increases, what will happen? Can body temperature go on increasing? Is there any limit for body temperature? Do human body temperature is limited or unlimited? If temperature increases, it will not be living body, it will be a dead body, right? If suppose you have a fever, temperature shoots beyond 42 degrees Celsius, what will happen? You will die, right? Similarly, if temperature falls below also, then also you will die, right? So temperature has to be maintained in a very close range. Human body cannot tolerate an increase in temperature or decrease in temperature. It has to be, body has got its own mechanism to maintain temperature in a close range. Okay. So for the body does a sweating to cool the body. Okay. So like that, when vaporization or condensation, they are reversible processes. The latent heat of vaporization will be equal to latent heat of condensation, but only sign will be different. Okay? Absolute values will be different. Similarly, latent heat of melting and latent heat of solidification are equal. Absolute values, not a sign I'm talking. So what is another process possible? There is melting, vaporization, or condensation and solidification. Is there any other process possible? Have you heard any other process other than these two?
Superheated.
Yes, sorry.
Superheated.
Sorry. Your voice is not clear. What you are saying is not clear, audible to me. What you are saying?
Superheated steam, sir.
Superheated?
Steam, something.
No, not superheated. That is different. Process I am saying, change of states.
Sublimation.
Sublimation. What is sublimation?
Gaseous to solid.
Sublimation is direct conversion from a solid state to gaseous state. Some materials they directly convert from the solid to gas. So if you see this naphtha balls, you use at home, we use naphtha. The naphtha converts directly from solid to gas. No liquid phase in between. It solid evaporates there. Okay. So at certain pressure and temperature conditions, this is possible. Sublimation is also possible. Okay. So then that is a latent heat of sublimation, we call it. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
There are three phases in which matter can exist: solid, liquid, and of course there is a one more is there. What is that? Solid, liquid, and gas. Three I am stating here. Any other state is there? Other than these three, any other state is there? Solid, liquid, and yes, anybody can answer? Solid, liquid,
Fluid.
and sorry?
Yes, sir.
Vapor.
Fluid.
Vapor.
No. Solid vapor means gas,
Molten.
man. Molten means liquid.
Fluid.
Solid, liquid, gas. Any other state is there?
No.
Huh?
Plasma.
Who is that? Who answered? Somebody
Nitin.
said plasma.
Nitin, sir.
Huh?
Nitin.
Nikhil, very good. Okay, there is something called a plasma state. Okay, plasma state is something we don't come across in a day-to-day life. Okay, plasma state you find at a very high temperatures, like sun. In a atmospheric sun atmosphere is a plasma state at very high temperatures. Or we can generate a plasma state on Earth at room conditions by using. All of you have seen arc welding. Have you seen arc welding?
Yes, sir.
Arc welding, people, roadside, these engineering workshops, they'll be doing welding. Have you seen arc?
Yes,
There'll be
sir.
spark coming. So that is that spark where you see, there a small portion will become plasma state. Okay, it will go to plasma state. It happens at very high temperature. And when you strike an electric arc, very high temperature is reached. Okay, so at those temperatures, plasma state is created. Okay, and again when the temperature falls back, it immediately collapses back to normal state. Okay, so plasma state is something that we don't come across a day-to-day life, everyday life. Very specialized situations like arc, electric arc, such cases we find a plasma state, or you go to sun atmosphere, you will find a plasma state. Okay, so usually most of the engineering applications we deal with only three states: solid, liquid, and a gaseous state. Okay, clear? Am I clear here? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So latent heat will be defined for different change of states. Latent heat of fusion. It is a amount of heat heat transfer required to melt the unit mass of a solid into liquid, or freeze the unit mass of liquid to solid. Okay, both way. This is forward, this is reverse. Okay, so latent heat of fusion, or sometimes it's called a latent heat of melting. Okay, or latent heat of a solidification. Okay, so latent heat of melting and latent heat of solidification together, it is called a latent heat of fusion. Is that clear? Then there is a latent heat of a vaporization, amount of heat transfer required to vaporize a unit mass of liquid into vapor, or condense unit mass of vapor into liquid. Sometimes it is called a latent heat of a condensation. When you condense gas to liquid, then it's called condensation. Latent heat of condensation. When you vaporize the liquid to, when you convert liquid to vapor, then it's called latent heat of vaporization. Like this, you have different latent heats. Similarly, you have latent heat of sublimation, amount of heat transferred to convert unit mass of a solid to vapor, or vice versa. Right? Vice versa means liquid vapor to solid. So here there is a small mistake. It should be unit. There is a missing word. Okay. Is it clear? These definitions are clear to you? Heat capacity, latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of sublimation. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. So let us summarize some points about heat and work. What are those points? Points to remember. Okay. As a mechanical engineer, you should not forget these points. You can never, even in sleep, if I ask you, you should know these points. If you don't, then most of thermal engineering subjects will become very difficult for you to understand. If you don't have a proper understanding of following points, then many a times you may face difficulty in understanding thermodynamics. Okay, look at what are those points. Heat and work transfer are energy interactions. Okay, both heat and work are energy interactions. Okay, a closed system and its surroundings can interact in two ways, by heat transfer and by work transfer. There are two ways energy interaction can happen. Okay, then there are only two ways, nothing else. The heat can transfer either in the form of heat transfer, or the energy can transfer in the form of heat or in the form of work. There is nothing else. Energy transfer is possible in only two ways. There is no third way. How energy can be transferred from system to surrounding or between two systems? It's a very asked question. There are only two ways. One is heat transfer, other one is work transfer. Is that clear to you? Okay. Then the same effect in a closed system. The same effect in a closed system can be brought about either by heat transfer or by work transfer. So you want to convert it, you want to change something. Whenever there is energy transfer, system properties change, right? So this system property, change in system property means change of state. The change of state from 1 to 2, right? You want to achieve. How you want to achieve? You have to achieve by adding the energy. This energy you can add in the form of work or in the form of heat. So that means, suppose if you add energy in the form of, say, 50 joules of energy, let us say, for sake of argument, you are adding to the system. Whether you add it in the form of work or in the form of heat, effect will be same. End result will be same. If you add 50 joules of energy, the end result will be same. Change in property values will be same. No difference. Irrespective of whether you add energy in the form of heat or in the form of work, end effect will be same. Final state reached will be same. So heat and work can bring same effect in the system. They can result in a same. Yes, who is speaking? Please switch off your microphone. Right? This is a second point. Then there is one more point. Both heat transfer and work transfer are boundary phenomena. Both heat and work are known as boundary phenomena. Heat transfer happens only at the boundary, system boundary. Right? Heat transfer happens only at the system boundary. Work transfer also happens at the system boundary. Both are observed at the boundaries of the system, and both represent energy crossing the boundaries of system. Both are boundary phenomena. Both represent energy. Both are energy transfer crossing the boundary. So therefore, the word, if you say total heat, is wrong. Right? Heat content is wrong. Heat is not content anywhere. Heat exists only when there is a transition. During only transfer you find heat. Right? Not when the system is in a state. There is no heat inside. So this word is not correct. Technically it is not correct. But we use terms like this. We said specific heat. There is no heat inside. Specific heat. Heat capacity. In previous slide I explained. Heat capacity. It's actually wrong. We should not use such word. Heat is a boundary phenomena. Heat is not stored. You cannot store the heat. Okay? Heat is only energy transfer. Right? When it is stored, we should call it as energy, not heat. But unfortunately, in technical literature, it is customary to use heat content, heat capacity, total heat. You do find it. Strictly speaking, we should not use that word. Okay? Olden days people have used and it is being used still today. Actually, it is not correct. Okay? Strictly speaking, it is not correct to use this word. Okay? So closed system, because heat or work is not a property of the system. Heat-like work cannot be stored in the system. Both are energy in transit. Heat and work are energies in transit. Okay, so they are not properties. So therefore, we should not use the word heat capacity. Instead, word energy should be used. But unfortunately, okay, which is being used. It's a convention people are using. I defined in the previous slide. I defined specific heat, latent heat. Right? They're not correct actually. Right? Those words should not be used. Am I clear what I'm saying here? Are you able to follow what I'm discussing here? Did you understand? No response. Are you with me? Yes, anybody?
Yes, sir.
Previous slides points are clear? All the
Yes,
4
sir.
points? Okay. So these are the points one should remember. Okay. Keep reading these points once again. Okay. Try to understand them. Understand and remember. Don't just remember. Okay. So let us go for a next discussion. So what points to remember? Okay, a few more points are there. I forgot. Those 4 are listed there, and there are a few more points. Heat transfer is an energy interaction due to temperature difference only. Right? How did we define heat transfer? It is the energy transfer by virtue of temperature difference. So heat energy transfer due to temperature difference is called heat transfer. It's a very specific definition. All other interactions, everything, any other energy transfer, okay, termed as work transfer. Something is called heat transfer. Energy transfer due to temperature difference is called heat transfer. Everything else is called work transfer. That is the reason you have work transfer. There are so many types of work transfers. We listed, no, 7. So many types of work transfers are there. Heat is only one. Energy transfer due to temperature difference. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Both heat and work are path functions. Both are path functions. And inexact differentials. Both are inexact differentials. That's why we used a D cut line, dq and dw. For both we use a cut line on a differential operator D. Right? The magnitude of a heat transfer and work transfer depends on upon the path the system follows during the change of state. So you want to calculate how much heat transfer, you must know the process through which a system has undergone change of state. Without knowing path, you cannot estimate a heat transfer. Suppose I know only end states, I cannot estimate a work done or heat transfer during this change of state. Okay, to know to estimate a change of the heat transfer or work transfer, I must know the path. Okay, so let us. These are some of the points. 4 plus previous slide we had 4 here, then plus 2, 6 points. You must don't forget these 6 points. These are very, very important points. As a thermal engineer, as a mechanical engineer, you should never ever forget these points. Okay. So let us try to solve this problem. Okay. So can anybody? Is it visible on your screen? Can anyone read this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you read this? Is it visible on your screen? Please read the statement.
An engine cylinder gas has a piston of area 0.12
meter square. Yes, continue. What happened?
and
Signal broke.
contains gas at the pressure of 1.5 millipascal. The gas expands according to the process, which is represented by a straight line on a pressure volume diagram. The final pressure is 0.15 millipascal. Calculate the work done by a gas on the piston. If the stroke is 0.30 meter.
Okay. So there is a piston and the cylinder assembly is there. Initially, gas was having the initial pressure inside the inside pressure was 1.5 megapascal. Okay. Area of the piston is a 0.12 meter square. Okay. There is a change of state. The piston moves. Okay. when piston moves, volume increases and pressure decreases, right? So it reaches state 2. When it reaches state 2, piston was in a position 1, and it moved from position 1 to position 2. When piston moves from position 1 to 2, what happens? The pressure and the volume change. Volume increases, pressure decreases, right? So he has given the pressure at the state 2. Initial pressure he has given, final pressure he has given, right? So now he asks you to calculate the work done. What he has given, what will say stroke length, piston movement distance. It moves from state 1 to state 2. When it moves from position 1 to position 2, what is the length it travels? Right? This is called a stroke length. Okay, in EME you might have studied about top dead center, bottom dead center, IC engines, right? The distance traveled between top dead center and the bottom dead center is called a stroke length. Clear? Okay, so how to find out the work done here? Can anybody answer? Yes? How to find out work done in this? Okay, you can try. If you have pen and paper, try solving this. Anybody? How to solve this problem? Yes? Yes, can anybody explain this? Can you or not? If you can't, I will explain.
Sir, I can say only one thing, sir, that it is a constant pressure process.
Constant pressure. Did I say constant pressure here?
According to the process represented by a straight line on a straight line, like a horizontal line or a vertical line.
He didn't say anything. How will you assume it is horizontal? It can be anything, right? How can you assume it is a constant pressure? It is a straight line, not necessarily a horizontal line. If it is horizontal line, if he says, then it, correct?
Yeah, it's a constant volume process because there are different pressures given.
How it is possible? It did not say a constant volume also. Did they say a vertical line? They have said only
No,
straight
sir,
line.
but different pressures are given.
Pressure is different. The initial pressure is this much, P1. Final pressure is P2. Did they say V1 and is equal to V2? Initial volume and final volume is equal. Have they said here?
No.
And how can I assume piston is moving from inside to outside? Can you expect volume to remain constant? In a piston and cylinder assembly, if the piston move outside, do you think volume inside will be constant when piston moves out?
No.
Right? Volume also increases and pressure decreases. Correct? Are you able to follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Then how to solve this? Note down this problem. Are you able to follow what I'm saying here? You understood the question, right? Have you understood the question first? Or you have some doubt? See, in any numerical solution, we say if you understood the question, what you need to do, then half the problem is solved. Next is how to do it, right? Once you know what to do, then how to do. If you know how to do it, you will finish it. If you don't know, at least half is solved. You know what I should find out. Have you understood the question properly here? What I have to determine? Yes. No response? Are you trying to solve the problem? What you are doing? Yeah, please. Anybody can say anything? Alvin, Ashik, are you listening to me or not? Alvin is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How to solve this? Did you understand what I said here? What you need to calculate in this problem?
Yes, sir. Work done.
How to calculate? Any idea?
Integration from V1 to work done
V2,
PdV.
right? PdV.
V1.
Integration PdV. Okay. So to do the integration PdV, what you have to do? You must know the relation between P and V. Correct? Otherwise, you cannot integrate. Two are different physical quantities. Either you have to express P in terms of V or V in terms of P. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there any relation given between P and V here in the problem statement? Have they given relation or not given?
Pressure is given.
Pressure is given, but relation between pressure and volume when change of state happens, is it given or not given?
Given, sir. Straight
Given.
line.
Now, what is given? What is the relation between P and V? How they are related? Suppose you want to write equation. What is the relation between P and V? X and Y are related. No? You write X, Y is equal to some function. Similarly, can you write P is equal to function, some mathematical function?
1 by V.
1 by V.
P is equal to V.
P is equal to V. See what is given there? Just see. Can you read the lines? Process which is represented by a straight line. What is the meaning of that?
PV is equal to C.
Process. What is the relation?
P
When you say straight line, suppose X and Y are related, straight line. How do you write equation? In terms of X and Y, what is the relation for a straight line?
P proportional to V.
No, I want not proportionality. Direct equation I want, total equation.
PV is equal to C.
No. X and Y, linear relation is there, let us say. How do you write? Straight line. Straight line equation, you know, coordinate geometry.
X plus Y.
What is the straight line equation in coordinate geometry?
P2 minus P1.
P2
You
minus
can do P1.
Straight-
Pressure.
straight line equation I want. P2 minus P1 is difference in pressure.
X plus Y. X plus Y.
X plus
Y.
Y. What is straight line equation? What is famous equation for straight line, man? Y is equal to
Mx plus C.
Mx plus C.
Mx plus C. That's all. What is M? What is M?
Slope.
Slope, right? How to find out slope? For a 2 points, if you take on straight line, change in the y divided by change in x. Delta y by delta x will be the slope, right? So 2 points are given. Similarly here, PV, if you take 2 points, P1, P2 are given, right? He says it's a straight line. Can you find out now? Okay. So there are two states. There is state 1. Here it is P1, V1. Here it is P2, V2. Clear? Two states are clear to you? Yes or no? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the relation is given. What is the relation? Straight line. Correct? What I have to find out? I have to find out the area. Small area is given by PdV. Work done is given by PdV. If I want total work done, I have to integrate. Right? Work done is equal to W1 to 2 is equal to integration V1 to V2. Now how to find out this? So I know that P in terms of will be an equation. P is equal to mx plus c, you can write. Can you write that? Can you write or not? P is equal to mv, sorry, m not mx. P is equal to mv plus c. M is slope, c is some constant. There are 2 points are given, right? So we need not do that. What you can do here is P is a suppose you take P is equal to mv into c, mv plus c, you differentiate, then what will happen? dp will be equal to dv. dp will be equal to dv. Therefore you get here, you can substitute either the p in terms of v or v in terms of p. So I will substitute p in terms of v. So if I take p is equal to the p is equal to mv plus c, so then I will substitute that. I will substitute here mv plus c. Then I can integrate. To find, there are 2 points are given, use them and find out d. Can you try this equation? Can you try this? How to solve this? Do this as a homework, okay? Do this as a homework, and that tell me tomorrow. You can solution, you can WhatsApp me, or tomorrow in the class you can explain this. Is it clear what I'm saying here? Can you try this problem? Solution to this problem, I have explained how to do it. Will you try this? Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, try this problem, try to solve this and give me answer. Explain me in the next class. So I think we'll close session now. If there are any doubts, we will continue. If there are no doubts, we will wind up the session. Okay. Any doubt, please ask. I will stop this recording.